My name is Adriano Rodrigues. I am an artist out of upstate New York. I was born in Brazil and currently I'm working out of Waterford.
Okay, what kind of art do you make?
Good question. The type of art that I make, I guess, would be more on the spectrum of the neon UV world. When I think a lot of people think about that type of work, they more think of, 70s, 80s retro. With my work, however, you'll see a much more neon blue tint, as well as, purple, ultraviolet. So what I've been trying to do ever since my car accident, which I had in March 19th of 2014, I went from more of an illustrated based type of artwork more to photography and now as well videography. So it's been somewhat of a journey for the past 4 or 5 years, ever since having a traumatic brain injury, and having that reflect in my artwork has also changed what I created from the beginning.
How did you get a traumatic brain injury?
In March 19th of 2014, I was hit by an impaired driver. Someone was going triple the speed limit in a local town next to mine, and he hit me going over 100 in a 40. Pretty much, I've been dealing with the altercations ever since. Ironically, in a 2 weeks' time, I should actually be having spinal surgery to get an electrical stimulator put on my back to help with the pain so that I can make more artwork for you. I had to make a decision whether to continue working at normal typical jobs or to end up getting my degree, because at that time I had a GED. I didn't have any higher I can't think of the word. Degree. I can't share a degree, thank you. I didn't have any higher degree, so at that point, either I was going to work at McDonald's, work at Burger King, work at a job where I'd be on my feet, 24/7. And with the medical injuries that I had, I realized that I had to figure out something else. So I ended up getting my 2-year degree from Hudson Valley Community College, which I ended up getting my degree in digital media. And after that, I had to find out a way to make my own niche in the world. And as you well know, with our world, especially on Pinterest, LO, Facebook, Instagram, it almost seems like everything has already been done. So I had to figure out what would be the way for me to create something new that's already there. So I started experimenting with neon lights, and I wanted to make something that was different, but also something familiar. So I wanted to create something where, having a traumatic brain injury, I could help share that with other people who do not have one. So my first series, Neon Dreams, was the first series I ever made, which was solely based around a model using makeup as well as neon UV lights. Then it went on to a series called Genesis, which I ended up having 2 models, to the next series, which was Vixen, and then my most recent series, which is Minx. Each piece I've made has been a development for me. It has been something for me to handle the trauma, as well as handling something this difficult, because with traumatic brain injury, theoretically, doctors don't understand it that much either. So whatever you can do to create something that really just makes you not go crazy. So I have lately been working and had my work published in Paris with the company called Vente Privé, which it was my Neon Dreams as well as Vixen was published on the side of their building in September of 2017 as well as January of 2018. So that was a great experience. But right now, it's more of really challenging myself to make something new, something original, but something that realistically, even if you're on Fifth Ave in New York City, would still draw your attention, which I think these days is very hard to do. I think my favorite project and the one I'm most proud of would probably be Vixen. That series was family-based. It's something I did with my family, and it was something that was strictly experimental. I had no idea when I purchased the product and as well as the merchandise to make that photo shoot. I didn't know what it was going to look like. So it was the first time I got to mix photography as well as digital art with Photoshop. So that was the first time I started making that jump over to the Photoshop world, as far as besides Adobe Lightroom of enticing it and evolving my artwork. But Vixen, I kind of used something called pixel sorting, which I ended up mixing digital art as well as my photography to have glitching in the photography. But that piece was the first time that Adobe Creative Cloud, for example, noticed my artwork. So it gave me some sort of reassurance that I am going in the right direction. And I'm sure for a lot of you artists on YouTube or wherever you may be, having that validation that you're doing the right thing is really important, because these days, you know, a lot of people do bicker. They will install your work. It will happen, unfortunately. But, you know, it comes with the bad, also comes with the good. So Vixen was the first time in my life that I felt that I did make the right decision. I went to school and, you know, continued with my education. But right now, a lot of people are asking, you know, did I go on to get my bachelor's degree? At the moment, I did not. I ended up using YouTube as my main tutorial device, if you will, to learn new techniques with Photoshop, with Lightroom, and really just wanted to teach myself something brand new while evolving something I already knew in the past. I think if you saw my artwork, and then if you saw the person who created the artwork right next to the artwork that's there, I think you would be a bit shocked. My artwork tends to be a bit dark, very muddy in the sense of, you know, black, grays, whites. However, completely to the other side of the spectrum, you have completely vibrant teal, turquoise, pink, purples, greens. So I think that when people do see my artwork, I think they somewhat are a bit surprised that such a loud piece would come from such a relatively quiet person. I'm not a very outspoken person, and, you know, to be honest, I have a very hard time speaking up for myself. So art was a way that I could be vocal, I could scream, I could be quiet, I could yell. It is something that I held very dearly to me, that I could, you know, be myself.
What made you decide to become an artist?
To be honest, I didn't think I had a choice. I didn't think I had a choice to become an artist. As I said before, when I got into my accident, they didn't realize the severity of the damages. So when the car accident happened, my body went into shock. I went to Albany Med, went to the trauma unit. Realistically, nothing popped up. However, as time progressed, things started happening. I tore my right labrum in my hip, needed surgery. Had to go through the electrical stimulator trial. Had to get surgery, and I have to get another surgery to actually get that implanted in my spine so that I can work more on a daily basis and not be in pain and not be on medication 24/7. So, what was the question? I do have memory issues.
What made you decide to become an artist?
So, the one nice thing about art was that I could do something in my house or at Starbucks or wherever have you, but I could be sitting down. That was honestly one of the biggest things that I needed to be able to do. I can't do a typical job. I physically can't. So art was a way that I could potentially make money making art prints and doing something that I loved. So when you have 4 years of still going through medical issues, you are going to go crazy without a hobby. Now the next step is to take the hobby and to make it into a professional business. So that's why I created adrianoinc.com, so I could create and sell my artwork.
Would you consider art a form of therapy for you?
Yes. I don't know how it is a therapy for me, but I know it is. It's the one time where even when I'm in the most severe pain, it's the one time that I can just zone out and just focus on something else other than the catastrophic accident that changed my life.
Can you talk about your process with your neon photography?
Yeah, the neon UV photography, it is definitely something ultra modern, and when it comes to something ultra modern, that also usually comes with things that are not really experienced before. So as I said before, when I create a piece, I have no idea what it's gonna come out as. So usually the process is I speak to one of the creative directors who I work with, Rachel, And we usually come up with an idea of like the type of makeup, what color the body paint wants to be, etc. The process of actually putting the makeup on the model usually takes roughly from 2.5 hours to 4 hours, really depending on the series or how many models there are. After that, we end up spending, I would say, half an hour to an hour strictly on the lighting, finding out what UV light works here, what UV light works there. Because the one big trick that a lot of people aren't aware of with UV light is obviously invisible to us. It will pop up on, clothing or on materials, but to the camera, to everyone else, it is completely invisible. So you have to be able to focus on a model in a complete pitch black room and be able to have something in focus and something that looks really good. So even though the whole room is completely black, everything just really looks pretty crappy. The second you press that button for the shutter speed to open and the shutter speed closes, what you see in Adobe Lightroom next to you is completely something absolutely spectacular. So it is still a learning experience for me. The real question is what is the next photography piece that I make that is going to be based around neon going to look like?